Hey everybody, Keisha here, and today I am here with my friend
Jennifer Guskin,
and we need your help. We are right now working on advocacy for combating human trafficking. Here's why. So we'll give you a little bit of background of our story and why we're doing what we're doing.
I was adopted as an infant by a couple who sold me throughout my childhood. I have been to Epstein Island and on multiple Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance-exposed newborn case, even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's Elk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the CARES Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the Jay Treaty. My father and I were exposed in the improper contagion mitigations for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: a house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in the government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the states. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city, house, or state without permission, or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the CARES Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on, we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the CARES Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. And everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate, and we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you everybody for your time and considerations, and thank you for all the support, and we will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CARES Project podcast. We are back again to finish up with some of the stuff that we were going forward with yesterday that outlined some of this real criminal activity that's going on with all of this, filthiness, right? The trafficking aspect and the abuse. Casey, you want to kind of say a few things before we get started?
Yeah, we're kind of oh, hey y'all, what's good in the proverbial hood? Casey here. Um, sorry, I'm silly sometimes. Um, yeah, we're continuing the conversation. We were talking last time about Angela White, and we're going over some clips of, just outlining, the way some of this has been going on. It's actually crazy when you really think of the structure of what's being gone on here and the way that people are methodically planning some of this stuff. It's actually wild. It's insane. But yeah, we're gonna go through some clips and we're gonna talk about it. So let's get to it, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me just pull up a clip here, and we're gonna go through some various clips because we're gonna go in and see some of the legal issues that surrounded them after, but we'll play a couple of clips here first. Look at this one.
I've noticed from my interviews from doing this podcast how many girls have told me that they have, grown into their sexuality, have grown up sexually in the industry. I mean, Asa Akira told me that. Nicole Aniston had never masturbated and orgasmed on her own until she came into porn.
Yeah.
So there's so many examples of people who came from, probably sexually restrictive backgrounds or maybe just didn't know any better and then came into porn and kind of had this sexual awakening within like a safe environment to experiment with these things
Yes.
in. And that's such an incredibly different view than the way most people look at porn. I mean, if you can look at it as a kind of training ground for you to find who you really are.
I mean,
Did it
thoughts
get
up?
cut or?
No, that's just where.
Oh,
Yeah,
honestly, a lot of women's. I think there's some truth to what they're saying. Is a lot of problem comes from sexually repressed women or whatever, women who are not having good sexual experiences, where, as we've seen in previous clips, like some of the women said all of their sexual experiences were horrific or, you know dangerous, or disrespectful, and like a lot of them non-consensual or whatever, based on the grooming that the people have been having. And even when they are in a consensual relationship with someone, the women are not having their needs met, because a lot of men today think that, sexual experiences are just for them, whatever, when they can get a load off or whatever. That sounds vile, I'm sorry. But this is how a lot of men talk, and see this also in the red pill, and people just don't believe that they have to give women any sort of uh regard, or concern, like intimately, physically, mentally, emotionally. They don't think that they need to meet any of their needs. They think all they have to do is give them money, and that's not how that works. And women, when they become deprived of what they need, they get crazy, literally become addicts to that emotion, and go 100% the opposite direction, or completely shut down 100%. There's really no in between, because some of them, to save their morality, they have to shut down 100%. And the other ones who are just like, you know what, I don't care, I can't take this anymore, they'll go the complete opposite and become sex crazed. And that's just what it is. And men need to understand that there is consequences to what's going on here. Like, that's just what it is. When your needs are met, when you're full, when your stomach is full, you're not going to go out stealing food. That's just what it is.
yes,
Straight up and down.
and so there was the conversation about where they sat down and they said that they bring them in here to go and explore into their sexuality in a safe place. And remember that we listened to previously, like Lisa had other people that talked about that they were doing like some things were like stunts and would not be recommended for people to do.
Yeah.
Right now, when you keep in mind that now you have the people like that we watched yesterday that were driving this stuff towards kids, right? You get a couple of kids and you stick them in front of wrestling and they're trying to suplex everything, right? They're drop kicking everything, right? So now you've got these kids that are watching this stuff and they're putting it in the hands of them and they're watching them and they're going to start doing things that they shouldn't, that even adults shouldn't be trying at home. But now you got kids going out and doing these kinds of things. Like this is this is the type of thing that the people who are driving this stuff, they want what these people are doing and encouraging them to explore themselves, so that the people that are there, that are like the ones that we were watching in the videos, that they can get those kids to do the same. Right? So,
Yeah, that's crazy.
yes, let's pull up another clip.
And I would say webcamming for me personally, I haven't been, since I moved to the States, I haven't really done much webcamming because I've been so busy shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to webcam a lot when I was back in Australia, and I would be introduced to the most amazing fetishes and fantasies, things that I couldn't have possibly thought up on my own, and then end up being turned on by them. So I think that, I mean, the sex industry in general it's an interesting place to discover the myriad, the diversity of sexuality, and humans are very creative when it comes to getting off.
Yes, they are.
Very creative.
If I learned nothing else from working in the porn industry, it's definitely that.
Yes.
I mean, do you remember any particular requests that you got when you were doing webcamming, or I don't know if maybe you ever did custom videos that really kind of stuck out in your mind where you were like, what on earth is this? Either in a positive or a negative way.
I don't do custom videos, but through webcamming, I mean, the list is so long. Just from the simplest thing of someone being turned on by you spreading strawberry jam between your toes, like just a simple thing.
Wow.
But why not?
That's a new one.
Why not?
Yeah.
To shrinking fetishes, which I find very interesting.
How does that work?
I'm sure that, I mean, it's different for everybody.
We don't
I'm
need
sorry.
to hear that.
I'm sorry, strawberry jam between your toes. I don't even want to know what the shrinking thing is.
Yes. It was more like, I mean, like some type of like Ant-Man type thing, right?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, what the heck?
Yes.
The jam between the toes. Honestly, man, this kid's crazy. This is crazy.
But think about this. When they go and film content like that, and that goes up onto a site, and they're pushing that stuff to children, what is going to happen? You have to keep remembering, like, you're sitting down and saying this is way out, but there are guys like the ones that we were talking about that were putting these things towards children. And then, yeah, so that becomes problematic, right? When that kind of stuff happens, right? That it's just, it shouldn't be happening.
Yeah. That's insane. And she said that these are things that she would have never thought of by herself.
Yeah.
And what she's learning through this those cam websites or whatever, your spouse and your husband is supposed to teach you what he likes, and you're supposed to teach him what you like. You guys are supposed to learn together. The fact that you are learning all these different random wild weird crap from webcams and online, you'll never be satisfied with anybody that you come across, because now what if that person they don't know about all that stuff, or they're not into all that stuff? Then all of a sudden you're like you're just like sitting there like, oh, this person's not fulfilling me, and you guys have to go to like degenerate lengths further and further together just to enjoy each other intimately the way that you were meant to naturally. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, you'll never be. It's designed. It's a recipe for like failure and disaster.
Yes.
It's a dumpster fire.
Yes, because you end up having to have more of these types of things, and people talk about this, and you keep pushing the boundary, so forth. But when you have, and a lot of adults will have boundaries where they're like, okay, I don't want to do this. Some people will just get on that slippery slope and they can't stop. They don't know nobody knows when you're getting to that point. Like, you don't, right? But when you're putting this into a child that has no boundaries to begin with, they have no conception, they shouldn't have any idea of sexuality. When someone is pushing this type of content in front of children, this is a huge problem, right? Now we're going to go and flip back to the other girl who talked a little bit more of her stuff about that abuse place that she was going to, and so forth.
The owners have been so obsessed with me because I've spoken out against them and they think, oh, I turned on them. But it's like, no, man, I just woke up and realized, like, hey, what you're doing is wrong. And this type of stuff shouldn't be out there for people to digest and think that it's a normal way to look at sexuality. I have a heavy conscience, and I recognize decisions and the consequences, sometimes not immediately, right? I'm human, I make mistakes, and I learn from them. Sometimes it takes some time to really understand why you made certain decisions in life, and then later on realize, like, oh, you know, it sucks that I had these decisions and that I went through this, but I'm recognizing this and I'm trying to grow, and I want to help other people not make decisions that I did, because the aftermath sometimes is debilitating and is very difficult to navigate through. And there's not as many young women or performers that are as strong as me that are able to get through this type of chaos and trials and tribulations. But I'm a warrior, and I'm going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to try to use these experiences to enlighten and help other people. But please, I mean, the online bullies that have been harassing me, please just look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, why are you supporting this type of porn? Like, why are you supporting these type of people? You know, ask Duke, the owner of Facial Abuse, to sit down and have a podcast with me and talk publicly, and ask him, how do you sleep at night knowing that you make abusive porn that is so degrading and hurtful to women? How do you sleep at night? I mean, to take advantage of women at such a vulnerable point in their life, and just to continue to profit from it and put that content out there, and then attach your name to these individuals that are just trying to live and to trying to grow. How do you sleep at night, man? It's sad. It's disheartening. And I don't want to see young women continue to go through this, you know. And I had a great childhood. I've had a great life, and I have a lot of things going for me, and I'm going to continue to go on my path regardless if people want to make fun of me for having shot for facial abuse. But I know who I am, and I know what my purpose is in life. And having just made a mistake by shooting for a company twice, like earlier on in my life, we're talking almost 10 years ago, people. Don't put me in a box and continue to define me because I made a mistake and I recognize it. It doesn't mean that I regret shooting porn. It just means that I regret shooting that type of content and realizing, oh, this is not what I want. This is not who I am. And I can learn from it and grow. That's what people do in life. If you want to go somewhere, if you want to be successful, if you want to make something out of your life, you learn from your mistakes. And people need to just realize this. Don't support abusive porn. Like the porn world, the online life of people is just so chaotic and dangerous. And these mainstream porn companies, and specifically sites like this, they don't support the welfare of performers. This is what people need to understand. They're not looking out for the mental health of these individuals. And I'm a supporter of individual content creation. And OnlyFans came out later in the game. And I still actively work on OnlyFans, and I work on Sex Panther, and I make a good portion of my living from that. I also am a nutrition coach and a yoga instructor, and am a drummer, and a professional drummer. I mean, I work my off in a lot of different ways, and I'm not going to let people define me because I worked for a porn site in my early 20s.
Yeah, so she's constantly making the emotional appeal, and that's not going to work with these people because she's assuming that they don't know how harmful this is, and that they, if she just no, please stop raping me, sir, to the rapist that actively premeditated the steps and, calculated how the best way it was to rape you over a course of like 6 months. Like, you cannot tell that person, oh, please. She literally said, please stop it. She literally asked them,
It,
please. She said, please.
that,
I'm like, you're taking the wrong approach, my friend. These are a special kind of sociopath. They know exactly what they're doing.
yeah, yes, that shows you that the women they don't understand the way that men think. Like they're like, oh, just come in and do. I'm like, he's not gonna do that. They know what they've done. They're guilty, and they're not
Yes.
gonna go in and put themselves into that situation.
And they can't come out and say what she's asking them to say because they would be an admission of guilt and they'd all go to jail. It's not about.
Yes, that's
It has to do
exactly
with their
what would
well-being.
that's exactly what it happened. It'd be like, yeah, you're asking me to go to prison.
Yeah, not only that, they're not just asking them to go to prison. It would be a trail of other people who would follow them like dominoes that would go to prison. So what she's
It,
asking them to do, they literally cannot and will not ever do.
no, they can't. They just really cannot do that at all, right? And so, yeah, we're gonna take the commercial break early because I'm gonna pull up a clip of a news clip of one of the places that she had mentioned earlier yesterday about the girls do porn, or like the news, and reported on what happened. So we'll play that after, but we'll take a commercial break now.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
So for anybody who wants any of My Pillow products, you can go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 800-845-2942. Use the promo code Karis. It's also in the ticker. There's also other ways that you could support. You've got the Give, Send, Go or the donor box if you want to support the fight against the human trafficking, or if you're watching on Rumble, BitChute, or Facebook. There are also links in the description that have a lot of other products that you could come out and support a good cause. And also, or you can go to all my links / the Karis Project. All right. So we're going to go and look at some of the type of things that these kinds of extreme content people are doing that are like ambushing these girls and so forth. She talked about this, but she mentioned this place, and they were in San Diego. Surprise, surprise. And so we'll just
Yeah.
bring that clip up right now.
It could be your daughter, neighbor, or classmate. Women say they answered a modeling ad, but instead were tricked into appearing in pornography. Now, some of them are suing 3 San Diego men behind the organization. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Catherine Garcia.
I'm Mark Mullen. NBC7 Investigates reporter Maury Payton spoke to some women who say other women helped lure them into the scheme. And the organization even shared the videos with her family and friends.
Catherine, Mark, we spoke to women not involved in this lawsuit, but they say the same thing, that these 3 San Diego men promised the videos would never be posted online, but they ended up on a very popular adult site. Those videos were seen by the women's family and friends and ruined their lives.
I felt humiliated, exhausted, drained, and that I just sold my soul.
It was a devastating feeling. I felt like I was lied to.
Different women, same story. Women from San Diego and cities nationwide, even Canada, responded to modeling ads on Craigslist.
I had just turned 17.
It was just the beginning of what the women say was an intricate scheme. After clicking the ad, women say they left their contact information on what appeared to be legitimate modeling websites.
It was definitely to broaden my shooting experience as I was trying to establish myself as a model.
The women say next a man contacted them, offering up to $6,000 for a 30-minute sex video. The women say they were scared, hesitant. It wasn't what they signed up for. That's when one of the so-called reference girls contacted them.
She told me it's gonna be okay, they're nice.
According to another reference girl who gave a sworn statement in the lawsuit against the men, their job was to lie to the women, promising the videos would be kept private and never posted online. The reference girl said one of the men, quote, coached me on how to correspond with the prospective women to gain their trust, even if that included telling lies and hiding information.
I don't think I would have followed through with it if she did not talk to me and text me and reassure me of her experience almost every other day.
From there, women say they were flown to San Diego and taken to high-end hotels. The women, some as young as 18, were told to relax. In some cases, offered drugs.
We smoked and we drank.
Then they were given a contract.
I read the first page. It was the size of a good book, and they rushed me through it. They did not let me look at it for more than 5 minutes because they kept rushing me, saying, we're out of time, we're out of time.
Then women were filmed having sex. Some say it was very painful, and they were emotionally distressed, but forced to continue for hours. Some say they were paid far less than promised.
They were lying to our faces and making our decisions based off of what they told us.
These attorneys represent 22 women who are suing the three men and their business entities. They say the men behind the scheme are actually the owners of a popular adult website, girlsdoporn.com.
Everyone that I've talked to, of 100 plus women, with the exception of 2, have told me they were lied to about the entire process.
Brian Holm represents the women suing actor Andre Garcia, videographer and owner Matthew Wolf, and owner Michael Pratt for fraud and coercion. The three men have an office in the Spreckles building downtown. Holmes says the men never disclosed they ran a pornography site. The videos eventually ended up on that site and others.
I've counted up well over 1 billion views of their videos.
Even worse, Holmes says the women's real names and contact information were leaked online. Some women allege in their lawsuit their college professors, classmates, and employers received emails with the videos.
Frankly, we shouldn't proceed further.
Aaron Sadock represents Garcia, Wolf, and Pratt. He's tried to get the case dismissed several times. Following a court appearance for the case, we asked him for an on-camera interview. He declined. But an email to NBC7 Investigates, he said the women entered into written and verbal contracts to shooting the videos, allowing them to be used, quote, in any manner. He said the declaration of the so-called reference girls should not be taken, quote, as the gospel, and models were free to decide whether to star in a pornographic video or not. The women's attorneys say regardless, that contract is void.
When you try to hide behind a contract to deceive someone, to conceal information from someone, those contracts are not binding.
Women say their lives were forever changed. Even friends, family, their own parents shut them out.
I didn't see them for the holidays. I didn't hear from them for my birthday.
It definitely creates a lot of psychological issues when you go through something like this, and I just want to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else.
We were there on January 24th when a Superior Court judge issued a tentative ruling indicating the women made a sufficient showing that Garcia, Wolf, and Pratt engaged in malice, fraud, or oppression. That same day, owner Michael Pratt filed for bankruptcy. His filing shows he makes $60,000 a month. The case is now on hold, though, until a judge decides whether this case should instead move forward in federal court. The women we interviewed did not join the lawsuit out of fear it would cause more damage to their reputation, or they were past the statute of limitations. I'm Mari Payton, NBC7 Investigates.
And to read the full statement from the men's attorney, if you're interested, you can go to NBC.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff that was going on in places like that. And they were doing some serious issue. Like they had a lot of problems, right? And we'll play a clip a little bit later. One of the guys got sentenced 10 years in prison from this whole thing that was going on. So that girl was the one girl that we were listening to talking. she was talking about the abuse kind of stuff that they're doing, and they're doing some of these kind of tactics. Because I read one girl, they gave her heroin and flew her out to one place and then told her that, if you don't do this, then you're not going to get paid. If you tap out early, you're not going to get paid, and you're not going to get your ticket home. So then those girls, yes.
That's crazy.
Yes.
It's they're presenting it as if they had the choice, but they flew them out there and then told them you're not getting a ticket home unless you do this. So you're going to be stuck here, and then what's going to happen to you? At that point, they're threatening to do it regardless. At the same, apparently they were made aware that they were flying out. Did they make them aware they were flying out there for sex videos? Or was it the pretense of just modeling?
No, they were there for sex videos, but it was way more extreme than what they expected. And they were, if they're getting hurt, they can't tap out, because if they tap out, then they don't get their ticket back and they don't get paid.
Yeah, that was, I'm not gonna lie, they shouldn't have went. They shouldn't have went to do that for the potential of modeling thing. They shouldn't have done that. But that goes to show how many people in that industry probably sleep with people to get where they are. It's probably how a lot of people start out. Excuse me, sorry. I remember when I was living in Toronto, this one agency told me they would recruit me if I immediately off the rip started doing bikini photos, and I was like, nah, sir, like I don't do that. Like I'll do regular like clothes and stuff. But they're like, well, you have to do it. Like, and I was like, excuse me, goodbye. I was like, no, thank you, bye. And then that was the end of that. I just didn't go to the next thing. I was just off it. So it probably starts out that way, like for everybody. And then they might say it's just bikinis, and then it goes naked, and then you're sleeping with somebody.
Yes.
That's why I didn't do it, because I was like, I beg your pardon?
And
Get
once
bent, bro.
and once they get you into that place and they've got you isolated and so forth and cornered, then you're pretty much stuck doing it. Otherwise, you don't get out of it. And if you were on drugs and you had problems with money, you don't have money to get home, like you have nothing, well, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna have to sit there and take it because you need it, because you're at a disadvantage. And this is the same kind of thing. Like, I mean, when you got experience where you got flown out to places and they told you, if you don't do this, too bad, you're not good. They didn't fly you back.
Yeah, it happens all the time. It happened to me all the time. A lot of people would fly me places under the pretense of doing one thing, like work, or the other thing, or visit or whatever, and then all of a sudden, the visit turned into, oh, you need to work or else, or I'm not going to pay you, or it was always one thing, and then it flipped to something completely different. And then because you're already in a vulnerable situation, I mean, I was homeless regardless, so to me it was like homeless here or homeless there, it really doesn't make a difference. But it's like the opportunity to do something to push your situation further, people will use that pretense to you and then exploit you while you're in that vulnerable position. And if they think you're vulnerable, they will exploit you as much as possible. And if they find out that you're not vulnerable, they'll get angry, and then they'll send you back, because they're like, okay, well, she isn't as vulnerable as I thought she was. But if they think you are, they'll fully exploit you to the fullest. Whatever they can get out of you, they will take.
This is why
even up to your body, like, it's disgusting.
This is why nobody helped me, and this is why people came after me and cut off everything I had, and they ambushed me like crazy, so I wouldn't have anything, so that they could continue to go ahead and exploit you. And this is what happens. Every person that's doing this is so that they could put you in a position where they can take advantage of you, and this is still happening right now. And people are continuing. People are still doing this.
Yes,
right?
People consistently try to exploit me, like sexually, financially, intimately, like so many different ways. Like, it's nonstop. It's at the point now where people around me watch it and they're disgusted. The people, like the friends and things that I've made, they're watching it as they know me in real life, and they're watching it play out every day, and they're like, this is disgusting. Like, everybody is trying to do this to you and it never stops. They're like, it's the grace of God that you're alive. Like, they are starting to see in real time firsthand just how bad this is happening to us consistently. Like, it just doesn't stop. And nobody cares, of course.
So let's pull up these guys getting sentenced and what happened with the same kind of guys.
Tonight, the man who federal officials say was the mastermind behind a commercial sex trafficking ring made his first court appearance today after being extradited back here to the U.S. Good evening, I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Jesse Pagan. His business partner also appeared in court today and was sentenced to more than a decade in prison. CBS 8's Rocio de la Fe is here in studio tonight with all the details. Rocio?
That's right. Officials say Michael Pratt, the owner of the website Girls Do Porn, lied and coerced hundreds of young women to appear in pornographic videos. He was first charged back in 2019 with sex trafficking crimes and was an international fugitive until his arrest back in 2022. Today, he stood before a judge and pleaded not guilty to the charges.
It was a tough fight to get to this point.
After his arrest in Spain in 2022, Michael Pratt appeared in a San Diego courtroom today, more than 4 years after federal prosecutors charged him for his role in a commercial sex trafficking ring.
Having heard so many of the stories, we knew what they were doing was criminal.
Prosecutors say Pratt tricked young women and at least one minor to appear in pornographic videos by luring them through modeling job ads posted on Craigslist and other websites. Most of the videos were made in San Diego. The women were told the videos would not be posted online, but that too was a lie. One of those women spoke to CBS 8 last year.
It's degrading, honestly. Everybody seeing me in my most vulnerable state and not knowing the backstory.
Roughly 20 of my clients were in the courtroom today. They're glad that this part of the fight's over.
Brian Holmes is the attorney who represents more than 24 women in a lawsuit against Pratt and his business partners.
They were partnered with Pornhub to help push their videos. On the Pornhub site, I think there were 70 of the 500 videos they filmed that garnered, I think, 700 million views just on their channel.
Also today, Pratt's right-hand man and the website's operator and cameraman, Matthew Wolf, was sentenced to 14 years in prison. Wolf oversaw the company's finances and marketing and personally filmed over 100 of the videos for the site. He, along with 3 of his co-defendants, pleaded guilty to sex trafficking charges.
Nothing compares healing-wise, I can say, for my clients, other than seeing these men behind bars. Getting to see Michael Pratt get arraigned and come out in the shackles in the United States is a big step forward toward their healing.
Now, a hearing has been set for Thursday to discuss whether Pratt should be released on bail.
Now, Rocio, this scheme was going on for years. How much money did they actually end up making?
Well, the FBI says the site generated more than $17 million in revenue prior to the criminal prosecution. The website and its operators were sued by 22 women featured in its videos, and the San Diego judge awarded the women nearly $13 million at the end of that civil trial.
Thanks so much, Rocio, for that update.
Each of the, first of all, what they done to those women is disgusting.
Yes.
And the fact that there was a minor there and the guy was charged with human trafficking and he was back on the streets to go and do this to all these women, to collect these women to continue his human trafficking. So he violated also the Mann Act. But anyway, and then they gave them all 13 million by the end of it. You know what's crazy? This has happened to me for the last 5 years and people, not a single person has even gone in jail. And everyone tried to gaslight us saying, oh, nothing bad happened to you. No one done anything wrong to you. You're just an evil demon. The amount of people, bro, the amount of videos that people have abusing me is crazy. I have some of them, but the amount, like, who knows how even many, but the amount of people who have done this to me, like this kind of evil, and everybody, it makes me, honestly, this begs so many questions.
Yes. And
this country is evil.
This
I'm
is
sorry.
yes.
United States of America. Evil. I'm sorry. The amount of filth that I've experienced and the fact that not a single person has gone in jail and everyone wants to sit around and be like, oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it now. So you're going to sit around and let all these traffickers go around and just traffic more children and women and exploit men financially so they can continue to kill people.
But they're all still committing crimes because they're all still trying to conceal it and all of that kind of stuff. And they've been harassing And there's been numerous amounts of criminal cases. You see, once you've reported criminal cases, they can't just go ahead and do nothing, because once they're there, they can always be reopened, especially here in Canada. Sex crimes? Oh yeah. Like, I mean,
and the fact that these women weren't even these women were manipulated into going there. They made their step to go there. ICE contracted me to live with people by force and like unlawfully imprison me. I still have, to this day, I have no criminal history in any country in the world. I don't even have speeding tickets. They forced me to live with people who done this to me, and then repeatedly done this for years. I was like, I had people chasing me. I had been attacked by pit bulls, like, that people put after me. Like, honestly, this is crazy to me. The fact that they know, this is crazy to me, because it's like the fact that they convicted these guys for these women on what was done there, like, that shows me that they know this happens. They know this is criminal, and they put people away for this. But what? Because it's me. Because it's me. Why? Why? Like, why? Why? What is the reason? You're gonna let criminals keep going and doing this to other people? They've done it to me, like, this organized. They're doing it to so many other people. You need the cooperation of DHS, ICE, HHS, different government facilities. Well, look, what do you expect? What do you expect? This is a well-oiled machine. What do they think this is? Do they think that people are just going to stop? Do you think that they partnered with multiple government agencies to do this to one human being? Do you know how much money it takes to do what they done to me? I worked for the government. Do you have any idea how much money it takes to do this to one single person when you're doing things on the record? Do you know how much it costs to pay off people to do this type of crime for one person? Now imagine, you really think they're doing this to just one person? Use your brain. You people are, honestly, I'm sorry, a lot of you are retarded. This is why America is in the state that it is right now, and I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry to be disrespectful, but this is why this country's so messed up right now and so trash, because you pick and choose who justice goes to based on how you feel, instead of letting the thing determine itself right in front of your face, instead of letting the character of the person in front of you determine, and the facts of what's going on determine what it is. You pick and choose when justice is applied. This country is complete trash. It is lost. I'm sorry. The United States is cooked. This is disgusting. The fact that they were able to get away with doing this, they did it to a minor. They were charged years ago, and they let them off. What? And then they can go back and do it to all those women, and a minor included?
this is the
Why?
this is the issue, and this is when you sit down and look at the amount of evidence, the amount of criminal complaints that were made, and all the things that they were done to avoid it. And even when you went to go and get help from the government in Colorado, they lied and sat down and tried to say that you were a Mexican, and then
Yeah,
we
Lauren
can't do it,
Bowman's aide. The
can't do
audacity of
can't do
power.
anything, and all of these kinds of things. And then you had a bunch of people just gaslighting you and so forth,
Yeah,
and they're
telling
like,
you that
well,
no one
we don't care, or all of this kind
Yeah,
of stuff. And it's
I
like,
had someone online today, sorry, they said, "Oh, don't talk to her like that. She's a human trafficking victim." And they were like, "I don't care. She's a mutt. Doesn't matter to me, pretty much, because I was a mutt or whatever."
and you have people like that coming out of the woodwork, but you see a lot of people that you see that are doing that. Those people are pedophiles, and they're
Yeah, they are. Yes, they
because
are.
you can't have that kind of mindset to a human being, because you know that if
No.
somebody's a trafficker, they don't care what race they grab. A human being to make money is a human being to make money, right?
This is so demonic.
That's really all that is to it. And I had to sit there and watch this happen, because they made sure that they kicked me out of the States, and couldn't come back here because they were trying to just take me out all the time. And then everybody would be like, "Oh, well, what's your father doing?" Well, they're trying to take me out, and they're robbing me 6 ways from Sunday so that they can go ahead and exploit my child. Right? I'd like to see anybody sit down and deal with that hell and see how well they do. Right?
Exactly. And then people coming after me, attacking me. It's like, first of all, we've been poor the last 5 years because of how badly we've been devastated. We've been operating with what we're doing on a shoestring budget, which makes us more efficient than all of the lot of you with your loads and loads of money that still can't accomplish trash with that money other than showing off. So it's like the fact that people are getting on this way, acting like it's not what it is, and you have things like this, clear demonstrations that this is exactly what it is, and the situation is entirely more constructed. Well, if you look into that situation more, you probably find that there's more people involved and higher people. But the fact is, the way that this was done was so egregious. Watching this, I'm sorry, I'm angry. This is so
Yes.
egregious. This is so wicked and egregious. I can't even. I'm angry.
Yes, and
Honestly,
so
it goes.
people should understand why I have such a disdain for this trafficking business, because I had to deal with my daughter having that stuff going on with her with the CPS or Child Family Services like 20 something years ago, that I had to watch this the last 5 years. So I'm sorry, but this shouldn't happen to me. It shouldn't happen to anybody. And the people that are doing that, they need to get what's coming to them because they need justice. So understand, I can't stand that. What two consenting adults choose to do with their own time, that's their business. But if you're going to start doing this trafficking business, prison is what you're going to get. Whatever the law gives you, that's your problem. I don't care. But you're not going to be able to do it to people anymore. Right? So let's pull up this next clip.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was just saying, you know what? People going on like, oh, you don't act like a trafficking victim. You guys don't act like you're traumatized. And I'm like, whole time, if either of us acted like we were traumatized, we'd be in the grave a long time ago because of how badly people were gaslighting us and abusing us further to try and prevent us from getting the help that we needed.
Mhm.
Anyways, next clip.
Yeah, so keep in mind this was like that. This kind of organization was like that outfit that you saw those people going to prison.
Okay? But I'm not a hypocrite for still working as a content creator, making my own porn. That doesn't make me a hypocrite. It makes me just realize I'm going to utilize my experience in porn and to continue to create what I want. I'm going to be in control of what I do. These mainstream porn companies, they latch on to performers forever. And once that content's out there, you don't have control anymore. And that's not cool. People need to realize what they're signing. And a lot of these companies in the past didn't really make it clear like what you were actually signing up for. And I just want people to take a step back and recognize that before you sign your soul away to a company that doesn't give a shit about you. Maybe think about it. Maybe think about it and understand that these companies are not protecting you. Okay, the porn company is they're just there to make a profit out of you. There's no royalties. There's not even health care in porn. People have to pay out of pocket to get tested. Almost a car payment every month just to get regularly tested. The porn world, it's just a cesspool of STDs. People don't talk about that. And I've talked about this in other videos, okay? But these abusive porn sites are there to just promote the degradation of women at their most vulnerable points. And is that how you want to represent the women in our world? Is like that how you want to support women? And if you do, you need to do some inner work. Because, I mean, that's just sad. It's sad. And I don't want to see women struggle like that. I want to support women and I want to support men to recognize the beauty of sexuality and the beauty of just being at peace with yourself. And supporting companies like that is not the way to go. So please just think twice. I'm not a hypocrite for talking about my experiences. I'm just trying to do the right thing, man. Like, I'm human, you know? I work hard. I love my life. I love myself as a person. And I can recognize when I make mistakes. Me speaking out against a company because I really, really think that these people are not good people. And I just want other people to recognize that and to make good decisions and to be happy with themselves and to live good, fulfilling lives and to be positive influences on their kids, and to teach children, you know, about the dangers of porn and how unhealthy of a vice and thing it can be. People just need to recognize these things. And it's going to take people like me speaking out about it to make a difference. Even if it means I'm going to get harassed by people, you know, and people are going to bully me and make fun of me and make memes about me and dox me. It just sucks, you know, when like you try to do the right thing and then you get beat up for it. But that's what it takes to try to make a difference in this world. It's just gonna be what it's gonna be. It's something I'm gonna have to face. But thank you for listening. I appreciate anyone that actually watched this full video, and I hope I made a difference and maybe just enlightened you and realized that, like, please, man, like, just stop supporting these abusive porn sites and just think about the type of content you're consuming and what you're supporting.
One thing I'll say.
She seems like she has a kind heart, despite the job that she's doing.
Yeah, and a lot of the people there, I mean, they have some issues, but I mean that they, like everybody else, but they're still people. At the end of the day, it's like people can get abused in these lines of work no different than, I mean, the prostitutes can still get raped, right?
Yeah, of course.
This is the thing that a lot of people want to degrade and don't care and say whatever. But if you don't do that, then that's just going to start pulling it. The problem is only going to get worse. And they're going to take advantage of people and so forth. And people are going to start going to prison. And what we're going to end up having to do is in the next segment is to go into what was being done on Pornhub. Because Pornhub is involved with these people. And they actually have one of their the headquarters. One of these is in Luxembourg, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they have some in Canada, and then the trust is in Canada, but then another port is in the British Virgin Islands, which is like you're watching this shell game for these companies. And I can tell you right now, they're probably popping up other places, or the people who own them. Like, I'd like to look at the ownership, because I'm sure that the people who own in those investments, they probably have other holdings in other areas, right? Because they were driving this a certain way. Comments?
Oh yeah, no. You're right. Yeah. I'm still thinking about the other clips. I'm just really disgusted overall by all of this as a whole. Like, I'm just like, all these things are compounding together. And I'm just like, I want to vomit.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
thinking like I was on a surveillance tracking system that if I even tried to run away, that these people would, if I ended up outside of the zone that I was permitted, the thing would have went off and they would have come and grabbed me. Like, I'm disgusted with the state of this country. I'm sorry. All of this nonsense just makes me want to vomit.
And they were coercing you and so forth, and using the weight of
Yeah.
the color of law.
The color of law, with the threat of sending me to a third country I'd never been to. I had to get a lawyer who I still have the letter to this day where they threatened to send me to a random third country. Like, these girls didn't have the threat of being sent somewhere. Like, it was still, the fact is, I'm not saying it wasn't bad. What I'm saying is the fact is they didn't even have the weight of that. And the law still recognized how abusive those men were in the situation to those women, how disgusting and evil it was.
Yes.
It's like the fact that this has been ignored on so many levels. Anyway, whatever, forget it.
Yeah, we're running up on time on this segment, so I'll close it out with a prayer, and then I'll give you your final thoughts. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. Thank you for the hope that you have given us this day. Lord, I ask of you this day to get the men and the women to come together, Lord, to rebuild our families, to rebuild our churches, our communities, and our nation, and that we could stop this wicked evilness is my prayer, and have some protection for the women and the children. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. all I can say to a lot of you is that if you've been in a situation or you know somebody or, you're watching this and you're disgusted, the best thing that you can do is turn to God and forgive. Because if you don't, you'll build resentment, you'll get angry. The state of this country is disgusting, no doubt. But you will become a villain if you let that overcome you, and you cannot. You need to be able to take a situation and make something better of it, and help those around you. So anyways, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for your time and considerations. We will meet you on the other side for part 2. If you're watching on Lindell TV, you'll see the next part the next day. If you're watching on any other platform, then we will see you in a few moments. So thank you. I guess we'll catch you on the other side. And to my dearest cares, until we meet again, my friend, and we will ciao. Hey everybody, Keisha here, and today I am here with my friend
Jennifer Guskin,
and we need your help. We are right now working on advocacy for combating human trafficking, and here's why. So we'll give you a little bit of background of our story and why we're doing what we're doing.
I was adopted as an infant by a couple who sold me throughout my childhood. I have been to Epstein Island and on multiple Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance-exposed newborn case, even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's ilk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the Keras Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the J Treaty. My father and I were exposed in the improper contagion mitigations for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: a house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in the government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the states. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city house or state without permission or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the CARES Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on, we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the CARES Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. Everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate, and we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you everybody for your time and considerations, and thank you for all the support, and we will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CARES Project podcast. And we are back here talking about, some of the stuff that was going on. So Casey, you want to just start us off?
Yeah, so we were previously discussing, this is crazy, like the way that women are being kind of, people in general, are being manipulated and coerced into sexual exploitation, rather, and the failures in the legal system as well to protect these kind of people, because when you fail to put these people away for their crimes, then they end up going around and gathering more people to reoffend and things like that. And quite frankly, this is why they want to keep people weak and families weak. Honestly, what I can suggest just before we get into the clips, because we're going to get into clips and then go over them again, get as strong as possible. Physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. That is the greatest defense. Because after watching this, I'm livid from the previous episode. If you're just seeing this episode, go watch the previous one. You will be livid too, and you will want to get as strong as possible, physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Self-control above all things, first and foremost, and then physical strength. Anyways, go ahead. We'll get into it.
Yeah, and like a lot of these things, what you're seeing in common theme over and over again is this exploitation and trapping, and having the women by themselves and separating them from families or women in bad situations that are on drugs, whatever else like that. Once they're in there, they're trapped and they don't have any way out. They have them try to isolate them from their families and so forth. And this is where, like I sit down and say, the only how they get my daughter in this situation is by cutting me off and sacking me. And they did it quietly to make it look like, nothing's going on. But this is one of the most disgusting, egregious things I've ever seen in my life. And all these people that are going out trafficking people, they need to get what's coming to them. Justice needs to be
100%.
served, because this can't continue. anyway, let's go back to the clip, because we're gonna go back and grab a couple of clips of Angela White, because they're using women like this and driving her content to children. Think of everything she's saying and understand, like, the people that were at Pornhub and all these places, they're taking her content and they're deliberately driving it to children.
In porn, you get to experience things that you probably couldn't experience in the
Right.
outside world. I mean, you could try, but for example, the gangbangs that I've done in safe environments, that I've orchestrated, that I've chosen the men, that they're all tested. These are very difficult situations to get.
Oh my God. I had the same conversation with Lisa Ann, like how logistically difficult it was to organize a gangbang unless you were literally doing it for work, because like, how are you going to get together, like, 5, 6 guys who all like each other, who are all like cool, like having sex within seriously close proximity to each other on the same day, who all have like clean tests, It's I mean, there's some things that you can kind of only do in porno land.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
think about when children come to that and they start experimenting by seeing this type of thing, right? What's going to happen, right?
yeah, that's crazy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It
That's
is.
insane. Yeah, because it gives people the mentality that this is possible. Like a lot of girls in school, that was like their fantasy. They wanted to experience that because they had porn brain, and they were like they don't want to settle down with anyone until they at least get to experience all of that, that stuff. So this is, and they were kids. This was kids in school. Like this was throughout the duration of school. So this is definitely dangerous. This is it's very bad.
Well, then they're also going to start following them, and the girls that may not be acting out in the way that boys are, they're going to start looking at women like this and other women that they're going to look up to and say, well, I want to go and build a thing like that. And they're going to start drinking in what she's doing from a young age, right? Where, like, I mean, if you're a kid watching that, you're just going to be finished. Like, you don't want an 11 or 12-year-old or 10-year-old child wanting to emulate this. You don't. Like, absolutely not. But there are people like we watch that want the kids to emulate this. So let's pull up another clip here from her, and we'll start going into the stuff with Pornhub.
There's that argument that homosexuality is wrong because it's not natural.
Right.
And homosexuality is found in nature, like
all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty natural.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's the thing, like, monogamy might work for you, and it obviously doesn't work for other people.
Yeah.
So, just because you read the book doesn't mean you have to change the way you live. But I think the book is great just for helping people to open their minds and to think differently about how relationships could work. Because really, we can make our relationship however we want.
Right.
We can customize it. It's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
So I know, like, I'm not a monogamous person. I can't be in a monogamous relationship. I've tried it. I'm unhappy. For me, sex is a conversation, and it's a conversation I want to have with multiple people. I feel like I learn about the world through having sex with people. And so
you have like a kind of tactile understanding of the world and other people. I love that.
So for me, I'm just, I'm okay with I'm not even really good with social monogamy. I like to, because there's that idea that you can be like socially monogamous but not sexually monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm somebody that I really like to, like, if anything, I would identify myself as polyamorous.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't like categorizing myself, because then once you put yourself in a box, it's restrictive in some way.
Yeah.
But I believe that you can be in love with multiple people at once, that you can have as many sexual relationships as you want, as long as it's ethically done.
Right. The understanding is on both sides of the, like, you're the person that you're having multiple relationships, or the people that you're having multiple relationships with, understand where they stand, and that's a level playing field and all of that.
Yeah, honestly, oh, you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Honestly, when people say that it's in a woman's nature to be monogamous and not a man's, they're lying. It's not in a woman's nature to be loyal at all. And the example of Adam and Eve in the garden was clear with her betrayal instantly. So um, women today, a lot of them are emotionally polyamorous. They'll emotionally cheat on their spouse all the time, which, you know, for a woman is a whole lot worse than full blown sex, because you have to mentally and emotionally betray somebody on an intimate and personal level. You have to give that person your loyalty, to give them your heart. Because you have to start listening to that man, and you have to start taking orders from him in some way. Your capacity, you're submitting to that man by giving him your emotions and your mind, which is why women think that being in love with someone is more deep than having sex, because that's the only time that the sex actually matters. So no, women are not monogamous. You need a level of self-control and discipline, which she is demonstrating she has absolutely none. Not physically, not mentally, not emotionally, not spiritually. She, whatever she wants, whenever she wants, however she wants, whatever she feels is what she's going to do. She lacks a lot of self-control. That's terrifying. That's a terrifying place to be, because that's dangerous, honestly. Honestly, there's a reason why you have to die to self every single day. Just
Well,
because you feel like doing something, just because you can do something, just because you have the inclination to do something, doesn't mean that you should do it. It's
that
crazy.
that's I think one of the things that need to be discussed, but that's for another time.
Yeah.
The thing is that there you can't there's limits on things, right? Like when people start experimenting with things and so forth, and you just kind of go and you're like, oh well, I found that pleasing, or I like that because I tried it. This is this where does it end? And when people are watching this, some people will have some kind of limits in her mind. She just talks about exploring and she just leaves it open ended like this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
'Cause she
so
doesn't know, but yeah.
that can create issues, especially when younger minds are there. I'm sure that those two women there will probably have some things that they know while they're having the conversation, that they're like, okay, we can't do this, right? Like, I mean, that I just can't do this. But they're not expressing that. And people that are watching this, they're like, especially when you're young, you're just gonna you have no filter, right? And this is being poured into people's heads when they're young. And it's not saying that these guys are doing it, but the guys that were at Pornhub, and we're gonna bring up some of the clips of this, you're gonna see that they were doing this, and people just didn't care. And you saw that these guys were looking to use some of this content to change people's minds. But now we're going to start looking at some of the system on how that works. And so we'll pull up a clip here.
The system is so slow and they don't have enough moderators that it stays up for long enough that people can get mad and sue them. And I think that's what happens. It's hard because how do you get somebody to prove that they're above age? Because if they can get a fake ID.
You think there's videos of underage still getting through?
Of course. You don't know who that is. We don't have consent of that person, and we're running ads. As a business, we're monetizing content that we don't know where this comes from. We don't know who's on that video. We don't know the age of the person on the video. This used to happen all the time, but we would just say nothing about it, right? We'd just be like, hey, whatever. It's like something that you just shut up, just don't say nothing, just be quiet. It's always things, because of the nature of our industry, it would never be covered up.
Because of the loophole?
Yeah.
Pornhub, under the parent company MindGeek, now rebranding as ALO, allows the general public to upload pornographic videos. Activists have criticized Pornhub for not requiring IDs for everyone in these uploaded videos. As 10-year veteran Pornhub product manager Mike Farley explains in our previous video, rapists and traffickers, quote, make a lot of money off a verification loophole Pornhub's chief product officer has told him to, quote, shut up about. Today, hear from Dylan Rice. Rice works for MindGeek as a senior scriptwriter. In fact, he's worked there over 5 years.
How long have you been there?
6 years, 7 years.
Rice also tells our undercover reporter about MindGeek's moderation failures.
They made so much money and they were like top of the world, but they fumbled so hard because they didn't take any of that money and reinvest it into moderation or like quality of the site. They just kind of gave it all to executives and then they just made a shit ton of profit. So then when all these controversies started happening about like remove this content, what about this company, your advertisers are bad, they didn't have enough background and funding to fight back. They didn't do enough for their own work. So I think that hurt them really hard. A lot of people got fired. Like all the people in charge of Pornhub were like wiped out. They brought in a whole bunch of new people.
Right.
Because like they were kind of, I wouldn't say incompetent, but they were kind of like very naive. They're like, oh, we're like a household brand, so like nothing bad can ever happen to us. And then it did. And like subs go down, views go down, get rid of them. They just didn't plan for the future a lot, really. So I would say there probably was some like teen men and women like on there and it gets flagged and it's taken down, but the system is so slow and they don't have enough moderators that it stays up for long enough that people can get mad and sue them. I think that's what happens.
Rice says Pornhub could operate legally using content from pornography studios that keep 2257s, records that the actors are indeed of legal age, but Pornhub views that content as competition to its vastly unverified user-uploaded content.
But like you also have this entire division of pay sites that are professional studios. We have all our legal paperwork, 2257s, like people with like millions of fans, followers, just use that content, but they don't want to. It's competition, which is backwards.
So for the user uploads, do you think things still like slip through the cracks?
I think so, but it's also, it's hard because how do you get somebody to prove that they're above age? Because if they can get a fake ID, and like a lot of the stuff honestly is from like South America, Europe, Germany, like Eastern Europe, Czechoslovakia, Prague, and like they have different identification systems.
Over the years and still today, victims of abuse have sued Pornhub and its parent company, MindGeek, which owns many top traffic pornography websites, for its alleged role in profiting off illegal videos and sexual abuse. In December 2020, following a massively popular article by Nicholas Kristof in the New York Times, Pornhub removed 80% of its videos and vowed to fix its moderation practices.
80% is disgusting.
Yeah, I can tell you why they didn't do anything and they went ahead and fired people and brought them in. This is a tactic that's done all the time. They're just trying to burn out as much money as they can. They don't care. They don't care.
Right.
Seriously. I've watched this happen over and over again. And when they go in and they get these dirty people to do things, then they just get rid of them and they replace them, right? And if that company goes belly up, I can guarantee you they'll have another one up and running. I'm sure there's other stuff that's running and they can just go and start flooding something into another place, right? This is the way that these people operate. This is no different. This is like the way this is set up, this is globalists behind this. There's 100%. Like I like to see the money behind all of this, where they're coming from, and I have a high suspicion that you'll start seeing certain people that are investing or certain groups that are investing and have holdings in this one way or the other.
Yeah, that makes sense. That fully makes sense.
Because I'm watching them and they're operating in like an identical manner. Right? Like I've watched this playbook for a very long time and seen it up close and personal. And just the way that the leadership is over there. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Awful. It is ridiculous. It's disgusting.
Yes. And so this is, yeah. So we'll bring up another clip here. This kind of stuff should never exist. All those people, they need prison. Like every single last one of those people involved that are doing this, and they're knowingly doing this, prison. Like really? Like no, this is not how you do things. right?
This actually
So
makes me nauseous. This is disgusting. The whole thing altogether, from beginning to end, is disgusting. Makes me want to throw up.
yes, it is.
This is
Here,
nasty.
yeah,
Like, this is vile.
yes, it is.
Listen to Rice and Farley give our undercover reporter the inside scoop.
It all started basically because somebody who complained to a writer, like a column writer in the New York Times. And then a writer from New York Times was like interested, I guess, by that story. He thought that it was like intriguing, so he started to like look into the website, look into like how many people have had those kinds of issues and reaching out to different people. So he like built a case and then wrote like an article based on like his discoveries. And then we should have, like, this used to happen all the time, but we would just say nothing about it, right? We'd just be like, okay, whatever. And for some reason, like, our SEO or CEO this time decided to respond, so we did like a huge public reply to that article, which kind of put the article in the spotlight. And then it just like backfired, you know. It was so obvious that it was gonna backfire. Like when they did that, I was like, bro, you're like an adult company. Like nobody wants to like nobody admits they watch that. Like nobody. It's like something that you just shut up. Like just don't say nothing. Like just be quiet. You know. Like don't try to be like, oh, they're wrong and we're like the industry leader. And
I read like New York Times talking about some, girl when she was under 18 had videos of her uploaded to Pornhub.
And she wanted to get them taken down.
Christoph's article's lead subject is Serena Fleites. When Fleites was 14, an older boy shared naked videos of her, and the videos found their way to Pornhub. Every time Fleites begged Pornhub to remove a video of her 14-year-old self, someone would re-upload the video to gain more hundreds of thousands of views.
The problem is I think the way he did it, he uploaded it so it looked like she was uploading it. So they were like, you're recording yourself, like what's going on? And they didn't have a lot of moderators, so they didn't deal with it in a timely fashion. But then after they finally took it down a long time later, it took years.
December 2020. December 2020 was like Doom's month for Pornhub. So there's somebody who claims like we always had that, but nobody like gave a shit. And like we weren't as compliant as we should have been, honestly. But at the time, I was on the engineering team, so it has nothing to do with me. But we weren't very careful and like, okay, well, what is this video? You know, like it'd be like voyeur video from the beach and stuff like that. Like it's like you don't know who that is. We don't have consent of that person, and we're running ads. Like as a business, we're monetizing content that we don't know where this comes from. We don't know who's on that video. We don't know the age of the person on the video. They look 20. They could be 16, you know? Like, how do you know the difference between a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old nowadays, you know? It's like 17. It's like... So we weren't very compliant. It was just like, whatever. Like, you could upload a video of anything and it would just go through. Like, no one gave a shit. They would just be looking for, like, murder videos, like, you know, like snuff films. Like, obviously, the content formatter people, like, they would just be running through videos all day and just skimming through them and be like, oh yeah, no one got killed this time. Like, they kind of up, honestly. Like, while that was happening on the engineering side, like on our side, we had to like, hey, delete all the content that's bad, take it all off the website. Like, we had to flush like 80% of our video content we took down because we're like, we started to look at ours like from that perspective, like that compliance perspective.
14 years old. The girl in that photo, I don't know if that's from when she was 14 or if it's her now. In that photo that we saw, she even looks 14. Like, you can't tell me you saw that video and was like, oh yeah, this looks like a 20-year-old.
No, you can't.
I mean, I didn't see the video. I don't know how she was dressed up or the makeup or whatever. I don't know, but she doesn't even look visually, like in the face or the body, like a 20-year-old. She looks 14 now.
Yes, this is
That's crazy.
Yeah. So this is what's going on, and so they have all of the people, and they created a bottleneck. You see, when you have engineers on stuff, they do things like benchmarking. and they identify problems, and they're supposed to correct the problems. But the guys there, they didn't correct the problem. They wanted that bottleneck there. They wanted to push that. And then it started to implode in 2020, but a lot of the damage was done because December 2020, we were already in the thick of things for the lockdowns and the COVID pandemics. And then what had started to roll in? OnlyFans, right? And they had people already prepared by grooming the children with this sexual filth. What started to go on, that transgender stuff went into overdrive during COVID. What were they pushing to the kids? The guy talked about it yesterday about the trans angel scenes and stuff like that. That he's like, oh, well, maybe if that child is trying to figure out what they are, and maybe we can help change their mind.
That's crazy.
Right?
That's crazy. Yeah, a 12-year-old. That's crazy.
Oh, yes.
That's crazy.
All right.
And then you have the likes of Angela White doubling down. Oh, God.
Yes. And yes. And yes. Like she said, she was talking about how she would teach and get people to go and do something they wouldn't normally like, and she's pushing the boundaries. And then now that's pushed to children that are going to go to that transsexual stuff, right? And then they're pushing this in the schools. Anyway, let's take a short commercial break, and then we'll come back.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day, and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
All right, so if you need any products, go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 800-845-2942. Use the promo code Karis if you want to support the human trafficking. There's the Give, Send, Go. There's also the donor box if you're watching on Facebook, Rumble, or BitChute. You also have other links in the description, or you can go to all my links /the Karis Project. And many good ways to support. We're out there fighting against this human trafficking, and doing a lot of the other stuff with the COVID and all that other stuff, exposing corruption. And so if you like the content and so forth, feel free to support us, or, if you're watching on Rumble or any one of the other channels, like and share and subscribe and share this out for people, because this is stuff that people should see. So this is just madness what we're watching here. It is just absolute and utter madness.
100%, yeah.
Right? So we're going to go back now and continue to watch the rest of what these guys were talking about, because they're using this content and they created this system. Like, I can tell you right now, from an engineering standpoint, they would have to talk about this, because that's a control system failure.
Yeah.
Failure. This is something that would have been brought up multiple times, and like I said, they talked about it. Like, don't worry about it. Right? That was their mentality. Well, let's listen to the rest of what they're saying.
We're like, hold on, like, who is that? I don't know, I can't tell you. Like, how could I guarantee you that this girl wants to be on here and is over 18 and she's aware that she's here? How could I do that as a company? You can't. So you have to take the content off, because it's like you're monetizing that content, and it's like adult content. It's not like a girl riding a bicycle, It's like, it's a little intense. So, yeah. and then they use like the people from the article as like examples of like, because it was like a girl who, like, for example, said like she was on video, like she saw, like she knew of a video of herself on there and she wanted to get it taken down. She's embarrassed, you know, like it's like whatever, and she was underage. She's like 14. Her video was online and had millions of views. And she was like apparently emailing the company to take it down, and we would be like, whatever, like we weren't taking it seriously, you know, or like we would take it down, but then it gets re-uploaded, you know, of course, because it's like you could just. But I could see like both sides of the line. It's like I definitely feel like we weren't compliant as a company. That's obvious. We didn't do the due diligence that obviously we should have, but at the same time, it's like don't make a video that ends up like it's kind of like, what do you expect, you know? But
yeah,
I can kind of see both sides.
Yeah.
It's like if that person reaches out to you as a company and wants it to get taken off, like you should be definitely taking it off. And to me, it makes sense like to have the ID because it's adult content.
Rice's claims of MindGeek's executives putting profit over moderation and Farley's admissions of non-compliance will fuel further debates about MindGeek's role in alleged abuse on its sites.
You think there's like videos of underage still getting through?
Of course.
Has MindGeek cleaned up Pornhub? According to Farley's explanation of Pornhub's uploading loophole in part 1, no. Farley foresees Pornhub in a new scandal due to its continued moderation failures.
December 2020 was a hellhole for you, apparently.
At work? Yeah.
Because of the news.
Yes.
Do you think that would ever happen again?
Yes.
I say that Aren't you guys covered now?
Yeah, for the most part. But not 100%.
But why?
Why what?
Why not 100%?
Because there's always things, because of the nature of our industry, that will never be covered up.
Because of like the loophole?
Yeah.
That loophole was left open explicitly for that purpose.
Yeah, telling me you understand both sides when a 14-year-old and saying like don't make the video, like the kid is 14. Like what do you mean? Like you're pretty much saying like if you make the video that people have the right to watch child pornography? Like what? You don't even know the circumstances by which that happened. Like what do you mean you understand both sides? Like what? And he says they weren't taking it seriously. Like she's 14, and then they left it long enough so that so many people could download it and just keep re-uploading it and making a lot of money from it. Like
yes,
that's disgusting, man. That's real nasty. Honest to God, that's real disgusting.
It is straight nasty. It is nasty and disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting that these
and then
people,
how many times are they? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, that these people are doing this. They shouldn't be getting away with this.
And then how many kids they done that with, and they have to watch these videos themselves as well before they get uploaded. So how many child pornography videos are these men watching and being exposed to while doing the vetting process for these videos? And when they come across the same, like honestly, man, I couldn't manage. That's so nasty. That's so nasty. And you mean to tell me like you're going to be seeing this all the time and you're going to not take it seriously and you're going to keep coming across these same videos? Honestly, at this point, I don't know why anyone will watch pornography, because you don't know if you're watching a child or not. And then you're grooming yourself to be attracted to a child. Someone said the other day that sometimes they look at what they think is a woman on the street And as they get closer, like driving by, they realize it's a child and they want to, like, you know, do very awful things because they're like, I can't believe that this is a child, but it looks like a whole adult with the way that they're dressed and the makeup, like, and everything from far away, and the body, like, what they're doing or whatever.
When you
Sad.
look at the way that they were pushing and driving the content, and like, as we were talking to Vic Vagina, and he was telling them that they were pushing that for that younger stuff, and then Elizabeth was talking about the stepmother thing, that they were pushing them to do that incest and making this drive for the younger stuff. And then you look at the way that they had their moderation, their content moderation, where it was understaffed, and they were made aware of this over and over and over again, and they left it there so that when people would complain about the stuff, that it would take forever to come down because they just didn't have the time. You couldn't tell me that you have a company like that that has risk management, you have a criminal lawyer that is there.
Yeah.
You have a former RCMP superintendent that had a background in organized crime, right? That's human trafficking, drug trafficking, and all this kind of stuff, and also knows extensively about money laundering, all of this stuff. And then you have a guy that does the policy like this in your leadership. This is telling me that you don't want to do anything about this, because you can't sit down and tell me that they don't understand this, and you have engineers on staff that understand control systems and know that this is never going to work. You can't tell me that that was an accident or an oversight. That's impossible.
Right.
100% impossible.
Yeah, it is. It is impossible.
Yes, because engineers can't allow that kind of stuff to happen. You can't. Right? This is just basic. This is basic control systems. That's a control system failure right there. Right there. And you can't tell me that every engineer that worked there just forgotten about what control systems are, because it's so basic that you use it everywhere. Like literally everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, these guys are criminals, and this is 100% deliberate intent. These guys, they need to be put in prison. And so,
yes, they do.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, it's just so disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Yes, it is. It's very aggravating.
So now we're gonna just bring back a clip that we've watched before now, but just it's fitting at this point in time. After you look at all of these things that were done, they were driving the content to the children. You have women like they have Angela White and many other of these adult stars. I just use her because she was there. She's actually understands the psychology of sex and so forth, and so she's going to be using all of that training that she has to make herself a better performer. As she says, she's going to instruct that. But the people that were there were pushing this to push this content to children, and then people were uploading like rape and pedophilia onto that site that children were accessing. And when you sit down and see all of these deliberate steps to do this, now we're going to go back and you're going to understand why we're seeing what we're seeing here.
Do you think that porn encourages human trafficking?
I do. You know, I think porn has, since the internet, has had a lot of negative effects. I mean, there's the couples that I meet on the road that come in that enjoy my movies, and there's that where I'm like, oh, that's so wonderful. But that might be a 5 to a 10%.
Yeah.
I think it's changed the reality for young men because it is so accessible, and because the scenarios that Brazzers has us do is so believable that in their weird minds, because they've been watching so young and there hasn't been any sneak to it, they haven't been forced to realize that they aren't 18, they shouldn't be watching it. All they have to do is click the the box that says they are.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what I think that's done is I think it's really affected the sexual history of these young people. And I think older men, Epstein, is a great example of this. And now we're going to watch this case unfollow. People with money are doing these things.
Yeah.
And then young people are confused by these things.
Mhm.
And what I've learned from young women that I'm mentoring in my travels that aren't involved in the industry is I'm realizing that young people are having less sex than ever. And young girls have been shied off from one or two experiences that they felt were violent and that I explained to them just came from porn.
Yeah.
The
Wow.
choking, the smacking,
hair
the
pulling.
spitting.
Yeah.
That's not, and for a young girl who's 16, that's what the 16-year-old boy's been watching. So the first time he has sex with her, he chokes her and she doesn't know why.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know what to do about it. And so they're having either sex with girls or they're not having sex at all.
Yeah.
And so I think what we've allowed our kids to watch and what we've failed here in LA because it's what we produce.
Right.
We failed.
Or they're like those incel girls and they don't know that being raped is wrong.
Yeah.
I think that it's normal because they're watching the content. Like, for example, the girl that was talking about the abuse porn sites that they're putting on there, and they're driving that content to children.
And they're being groomed to like it. So they're being groomed to eventually think that this is okay. And a woman will naturally groom herself into liking something that's abused, because then she'll say, if I'm taking control and allowing it myself, then it means that, then it's not something bad happening to me. And then she'll groom other women into doing it. And if a woman will see another woman is getting attention from doing that and she wants that attention, then she'll groom and abuse herself into liking that same thing because she doesn't want to be like out competed by that other woman in what she wants. It's the same thing that we were talking about on the servers about the women with the anorexia. Same concept.
Oh yes, it is. It is the identical type of thing here. And this is the whole disgusting thing that you're sitting down there and understanding. When you realize what these people are doing,
Honestly, sorry.
Go ahead.
Honestly, the internet is a dangerous place. If you're a woman, honestly, man, yeah, men can be abused, but it's different because men can protect themselves. If you're a woman, if you don't have a man around, you shouldn't, honestly, you shouldn't be, you shouldn't be doing anything. You should be a homebody. And I'm a homebody, but I mean, like, I've always kind of been like that, but you need to be a homebody as a woman. There's the chance that someone is going to entrap you on the internet and groom you. There's a chance that if you leave the house for no purposeful reason, without any protection, that someone's going to try to rape you or kidnap you or traffic you. This world is not an easy world. This world is a cruel and evil place. It is an evil and demonic place just because it can be. And without the protection of a man, a woman has no purpose to do anything. Don't go anywhere if you don't have to. Like, I know that that's a very woman thing to say, but like, men can do whatever they want because they can protect themselves. As women, you don't have any reason to leave the house and go out partying at places with people and doing drugs that you don't know and all this kind of stuff in general. Even if you're going to do whatever in your house, it's your business. If it's legal, whatever, it's not my business. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying you're in the comfort of your home. You have no business going out and partying and dressing half naked and inviting predators to come and, be like, this is my next victim. Not saying that they should. The more that I see this stuff, women need to be on lockdown. And I'm not saying like in a controlling, possessive way. I'm saying women need to protect themselves by being under the banner of a good man. Like, this is terrifying. This is terrifying. All the things that women are thinking they're doing for fun on the internet. Even is entrapping them to predators.
Yes. And keep in mind that these people were doing this whole transgender stuff, and they were also putting up children being raped and then you begin to understand that this was there.
.org. It's short for virtuous pedophiles. Not virtuous as in they're better than everyone because they're attracted to children, but virtuous like having moral standards and a sexual orientation that they have no control over, like the rest of us. Before you get all worked up, I'm talking about pedophilia, not child molestation or rape. Pedophilia is the sexual attraction to children. It's a paraphilia. There's a link to more information about it in the description, videos I've made in the past explaining the kind of human diversity and development. Molestation and rape are different. These are abusive actions that often have nothing to do with attraction. Many child abusers are actually sexually attracted to adults, but they act out on children. Meaning you probably don't object to pedophiles because you're compassionate and rational, but you may loathe child molesters and rapists because they violate people. I personally try not to judge either.
She made the distinction in her mind. She made the distinction and then ended the sentence by saying, "I personally try not to judge either." Oh my God.
Yes.
God.
Yes. And guess who is helping to drive that content?
Pornhub.
There you go. And it's the people that are owning and running it to drive this kind of stuff. And then we will pull up one final clip. And this is kind of, we'll circle all the way back from start to finish. Because now you'll understand why they were having places like this in Canada. Because look at what they're doing here now.
There's some breaking news. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has acknowledged for the first time that there is a serious pedophile problem at the highest levels of some of our institutions here in Alberta, including Alberta Health Services and the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta. In 2021, the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta gave medical licenses back to 2 pedophiles who had been arrested by RCMP for sex crimes against children, young girls as young as 5 and 6 years old. These guys were arrested for possession and distribution of child pornography. The college gave them their licenses back while simultaneously they were stripping the medical licenses of doctors who were treating their COVID patients successfully with ivermectin, doctors like Dr. Daniel Nagase. Even yesterday, Alberta's media, like the Edmonton Journal, came out in defense of these child sex abusers, running a hit piece on me and attacking me, trying to smear me and damage my reputation for pointing out the pedophile problem in Alberta. Just before she retired a few months ago, the now disgraced former Alberta Premier Rachel Notley came out publicly in defense of child sex abusers, stating on the record that the NDP stands with child predators and child pornographers and against child victims. But we now have acknowledgement from Alberta Premier Danielle Smith that she is aware of this situation of sex crimes against children that are being committed by some of the elites of this province, including Alberta Health Services executives. Folks, I bring receipts, and I'm going to keep bringing receipts. And when it comes to crimes against children, I'm not going to be silent. I'm going to be yelling these crimes from the rooftops. I'm not going to be silenced by the corrupt, rotten Alberta media. And I'm certainly not going to be silenced by NDP MLAs and former Alberta premiers on the left who stand with child sex abusers.
And there you have it.
Marcus, man.
The Canadian government protecting pedophiles. And Danielle Smith did nothing.
Yeah, she just relocated their job to a higher position in a different province. It was discussed in BC.
The government in the
children.
Federal government in Canada were notified about what was going on. They knew that you were being trafficked. The government of Saskatchewan, government of Alberta, they all did nothing. What did they do? Yeah. They shielded it. RCMP, what did they do? Yes. Shielded it. The guys that were trying to investigate, they got blocked, right? So what do? So you got a bunch of people protecting pedophiles, and what do you think is going to happen in the Pornhub? They're protecting the doctors that are raping kids. They're protecting the colleges are giving them their licenses. The doctors that are trying to treat people during COVID, they're punishing them. See how this works? Right? And we voted for the same government that's protecting pedophiles. Why are they not going and investing, sending the RCMP to go rip that place to shreds and get all the child abuse and the rape videos off of there? Crickets? When they're
crickets.
openly protecting pedophiles, and then you want to sit down and say that you voted for this? This is the government? And then they want to go ahead and go murder people for smallest things. But your government's protecting pedophiles in business and in bed with traffickers, and just like, oh, well, they did an investigation. There's nothing to see here. That's the government at work. Nobody wants to deal with that. But they want to give them a chance. Give them a chance while they're just allowing rapists and child rapists to walk free and protecting them. Right?
Mad. Absolutely mad. It's
yes.
Disgusting.
That is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
They need to be in jail. They all need to be in jail. They all need the harshest penalty of the law.
Yes. So
honestly,
when I sit down and I see people going out and, like, for example, that girl who went used the N-word against the kid, getting like over $500,000, but they won't help people that are trying to stop them from raping kids. They won't help the J6ers. They won't help any of those people that are putting their lives on the line for the freedom of everyone else. But because somebody's feeling got hurt, or somebody going and stabbed the kid, and the parents are going and taking the money and doing God knows what with it, they're going and supporting that. Are you crazy?
Because both situations is absolutely ridiculous.
Right?
Absolutely
but you don't want to help the people who are trying to, like, actually get things done? Or stop kids from getting raped? I'm sorry.
Because we don't have the skin color, we don't have the financial position or the status or the, whatever the people want. So they're not going to help us in a situation, but you're going to help people who are blatantly making society worse and go against the laws of God. So I don't care what color you are. You do something messed up, you done something messed up. If you've done something wrong, you've done something wrong.
Well, and they're still going after white people too. So I mean, that they go up against this filth. So I mean, like, there's no excuse for this. Like, none.
Exactly.
So I sit down and I ask people, like, because I know a lot of people are saying out there, but there's a lot of people that are just hiding stuff so that people don't know what to do. And so this is what I'm going to sit down and ask people to go out and share this information, because this is the kind of stuff that people need to see and understand of what is going on. Over and over again, being showing this time and time again. But we're running up here on time. I don't want to see anybody have to deal with this nonsense. We don't need to see more kids getting raped and people profiting off of people getting raped and exploited. This needs to stop. This is just insane. Anyway, I'll close with a prayer and I'll give you your final thoughts. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the hope that you have given us this day. Lord, I ask of you that we will humble our hearts before God, and that we would work with the women to rebuild our families, our communities, and our nation, that we could have some protection for the children from this evil wickedness, is my prayer, and that they would be brought to justice swiftly. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thanks, Dad, for the prayer as always. Yeah, thanks, guys, for listening. At the end of the day, I keep saying this, but there's loads of villains out there, and we need to be heroes. We need to be the person that steps to action when we see something is going wrong. We need to be soldiers for the kingdom of God, and we need to be strong spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally. That comes only by our relationship with God and Jesus Christ, and adhering to the voice of the Holy Spirit when he directs our paths, and asking for ourselves to be filled with the Holy Spirit so that we can have that knowledge and wisdom and understanding on how we might be able to do that, how God can best utilize our skills to help those around us. So anyways, guys, stay vigilant. Have a good night. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you. And to my dearest Karis, until we meet again, my friend, and we will ciao.